Today we're going to go through documents. There is quite a bit we could cover in this area, so we're going to focus on as many of the important points as possible and show you how to best help yourself when attempting to set up a new document. There are currently 9 file types available for use and are sent after being created using templates saved in the Documents Admin Library. Some of these should not be used for new templates as they're older and likely to be obsoleted in the near future, which are the Word VBA and Excel VBA type documents. When creating a new document template, it's really important to understand what your client is needing it to look like, what information the document needs to contain, and how they would like to send them. Whilst a simple document template can be added by a user, it's recommended that if high customization is required, that the templates are completed by a Fundpak Connect code-savvy individual or team that are also familiar with the Microsoft Office relevant products if required. We also supply a range of sample documents within Fundpak Connect, which can be found in your installation folder under the templates folder. These are a really good way of seeing the ways document functionality can be used within Fundpak Connect, including samples of bookmarks, constants for the electronic signature services, and relevant code and more. We do update these from time to time when legislative changes are made to make things easier for the client from a Fundpak Connect point of view. However, we do need to strongly reiterate that these are samples only, and the client must always determine what is fit for purpose for them. Moving on to document type and the document form itself. The document type defines where the document will be used. For example, a document relating to accounts specifically would be an account type document. The available types are account application, check, client, general, lodgement, security statement, and user. There is an extra option on an account type document to support account applications. So this allows a document to be used for both accounts and account applications as well, which is really handy. There's also an additional field on a client type document called context. Where did it go? Sorry. And this allows client type documents to be linked to credit bureau events, specifically for an example, the bank account inquiries where links need to be sent out to the customer to go on and complete their bank account inquiry. Also on this page of the document form, we've got categories, which is used for grouping documents and has an attached information list for further customization. You can also set the log subject here for any of these documents that will be created. So when you're looking at the applicable type, for example, this one here, client, you'll see a log with the document attached saying bank statements, bank account, email, inquiry. Moving on to document file types. As mentioned, there are 9 currently available, but you should not be using either of these two. Because we do need to reiterate that Word VBA and Excel VBA are not currently supported in Fundpak Connect Cloud, and there's no plans to add them. And additionally, these documents are very likely to be removed completely from Fundpak Connect in the near future and are already considered to be obsolete. The recommendation instead is to use the Word documents or Excel workbooks, as they do not rely on Microsoft Word being installed on the user's PC in order to run. And that is an issue we have had pop up recently with Office 365 and older Word VBA documents. Although these ones here are referred to as Word documents, it is in actual fact the MS Word document is just the base or intermediate format, and all of the supplied documents actually produce PDF files, hence the PDF symbol also being here. Out of the various file types, you'll need to select the most appropriate type for the task required. The most common types we see in app support are probably email, SMS, and Word documents, though the others have their place and uses as well. Each document file type has the ability to involve scripting, which can be useful depending on what the end result the client is trying to achieve formatting-wise and what information they are wanting to include. These types are set on the document page on the document form in the admin library. This page here does have dynamic fields based on the file type chosen. For example, email types will show the following. We've got the option to add a log. Some don't have this option because they add a log by default in the background. So you can choose yes, no, or prompt, and a log type is, okay, this only got normal. The target, you can choose whether to open it for edit outside of Fundpak Connect, so in Outlook, for example, whether to save it as a draft or to send it automatically. You can choose whether you're allowing your end user to modify, or you can tick on HTML format. This is another example here where you can further customize formatting and things by using the source code. However, we discourage inappropriate tinkering by people who are not familiar with HTML code. This box here, however, is really useful because you can access all of these smart tag bookmark things here. So you can click these, and when you go to generate a document, it will resolve from the attached client. So if we went to an account really quickly, we can see how those resolve. We click on the next page here, we can see it's resolved the tags as follows. Except for that one, which there's an extra bracket in, not sure why. And this here is an example of an HTML email signature, and a reason why we discourage inappropriate tinkering, because as you can see, formatting issues are quite easy to produce. Another file type we've got here is an SMS message. And again, on the document page, this is where you would detail what you want to be sent in your template. And again, we've got tags that you can insert there. These can be sent either manually or automatically. Obviously, manually, if you've got this ticked, then the user can modify the message that's actually being sent. So it's something to be aware of. And again, we've got the log options, further options here in terms of publish status and priority. So you can choose whether to open it or to send it. There's lots of little handy tooltips through here as well, which I recommend clicking on as you go through setting up a template. And what else have we got here? So this one is an example of a Word document file type, where you can also have a covering email. So you would do the email content here, excuse me, sorry, and have the template document attached. This is also where you can have some of our standard bookmarks come into play, which I'll cover off quickly now. So bookmarks are a piece of built-in code where it will resolve a field from within Fundpak Connect. We've got a really good example throughout the LCFT sample document, actually. If we have a quick look at this Word template here, you can see through here all of these items here that refer to different pieces of information within Fundpak Connect. So for example, if the bookmark was account ID in the template, the generated document will resolve and instead replace it with the account ID. This is obviously a very large area, and because it involves code, should only really be updated by people who know what they're doing. But in saying that, there is a really good comprehensive bookmark guide available under developer downloads on our website. It's called Word Document and Excel Workbook Guide. This guide also covers adding custom bookmarks, so where there isn't a standard bookmark available. And support for custom bookmarks is available from our code support team if the guide is unable to answer your questions. It also contains a really useful section on converting the older Word VBA templates to the newer format under Appendix C in the document, which is super useful for the coder to use if needed. And it contains a troubleshooting section and much more. One of the common things we see with document templates is bookmarks where they've tried to use them and there's been a space after the bookmark within the Word template. As an example, it won't resolve. I think that's all I have to say about that section for now, but definitely check that one out. It's a very comprehensive document. Sending documents. Documents can be sent in numerous ways from Fundpak Connect, as I'm sure most of you know. So there's manually or ad hoc from the Send Document action buttons, which are generally found under communication options on an account or client or on other options on a workflow. Clicking this button will launch the Create Document wizard and show the relevant options. So for example, over here, I've got the account wizard going here, and it'll pull up all the relevant account type documents. But it will only return a list of documents that are both active and available and for this type. When you get to the next page of the wizard, there's a few other options you can select. So you can choose to email the document if possible and to set a send date and time. If you click the Save button, it will only publish when you run the Publish Documents wizard, or if you click Publish, it will go immediately. So the active and availability that I was just talking about, on the document form itself, there's this active checkbox on the very first page, and the available documents are in a few different places. For account type documents, as an example, you can have it ticked as available on either the product type or the account type. It doesn't matter if it's ticked on one, it will be available. And for clients, on the client groups. You can also manually send documents from buttons on the button strip. For example, on a workflow in Task Manager, there's two ways to do it. You've got your Send Document button here, or the Perform Actions button also contains the option to send a document under the Workflow Actions wizard. There's all sorts of ways to automate documents as well throughout Fundpak Connect, including by account rules. I know this is very small, but it's just an example. So many of you have probably seen the sample rules we've got in our demo data that checks conditions and sends documents based on set criteria. I definitely recommend going in there and having a good play with that. And you can attach a document once you drill down into those rules, and they will generate when you run the account processes. You can have documents attached to set events that happen. And Fundpak Connect is designed to generate these when they occur, and they get linked up in various places throughout Fundpak Connect, such as on the events documents page under the special account documents. Or we also have a few options throughout global settings. The example here, which I know you probably can't see, but this is global settings. On the accounts general page, there's an option to define an account payment dishonor letter. So under the special documents, we have things like restructure documents, closing summaries. This means, as an example, if you had a document attached to the closing summary, if you then run an account close, you can click on the summary button here and the document will be generated from that template attached. So I've got an example here of that. And you can choose to send it. The account dishonor letter as well. There's a checkbox when you go to reverse a payment. No, not this one, sorry. To send the account payment dishonor letter there. And again, you can choose to either publish that instantly, or if you untick that, it should produce the next time the publish documents wizard is run. Fortunately, it does generate in a different window, but hopefully you can see that now. There is one type of document that is mandatory, and that you can see on the account type settings, which I believe we've been over before, and that is the statements. So on the documents page here, you can see it's highlighted in blue and you must have the document defined there. There's also within the account type settings options to tick the checkboxes on by default. For example, this one here, the default print contract document in the new account wizard. Onto the publish documents wizard. So as mentioned, this will produce letters, custom reports, emails or SMSs, such as overdue reminders and thank you letters when an account has matured. Fundpak Connect allows you to publish all the documents that have document logs dated before the date selected, all in one process. So it's used, this wizard is really used to automate or process bulk documents all in one go. And in terms of automation, you can have it linked up to a general script that runs by scheduled task as an example. And you can go through and filter in various different ways, so either by log class or by file type. And then further here, there is a bunch of different ranges that you could use. For example, you could run just your loan statements at 2 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to, for performance purposes. Then you get to the last page here, and if you're running this manually, you can preview all of the documents that you're about to send or publish. And all the usual button controls are available at the bottom of the grid if you need to remove any from the list. Electronic signatures is kind of a big part of documentation really in terms of loan contracts and things. I'm not going to touch too much on this today because there's a bit of code and things involved, and the code support team are likely to run their own session on documentation in the future. But just a quick look at the constants and things here on our sample loan contract document. You can see there's various different options available for that, and the script code here. So it's a good place to point your code team to if they're needing to have a look at how that has been implemented here, which will help with your customizations. I've come to the end of my notes for today. However, if there's other areas that you want us to touch on with documents, please do let us know, or don't hesitate to contact application support for the user interface queries or code support in relation to code specific questions. In our next session, we're covering admin bank accounts section, including configuration of payment methods and processing direct debit and credit.